What's going on, everyone? This is Vince with vshred.com, and if you are dealing with any sort of neck pain, it's something that's entirely too common in the world today. And I have my buddy Dr. Zaki Afzal here. He is a physical therapist. He's my physical therapist, works with a bunch of professional athletes, has a clinic here in Las Vegas, and he is an absolute gangster of his craft. And I'll throw all his information down below if you want to check him out, by the way. But what we're going to be doing here on the channel, we're switching it up a little bit. I have him here because I wanted to take a different approach to fitness and do a little mini series over just total physical therapy. We're going to be working down the entire body. We're going to be talking about neck pain, shoulder pain, low back pain, hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain. We're going to be talking about the entire body, any type of pain that you can be dealing with, and we're going to be using his knowledge and his expertise and showing you how you can address it yourself from home in an educated way so that hopefully you can start feeling better and get back to the gym and start throwing around some more weight. So, Zaki, thank you for being here. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I want to thank the VShred community for having me and taking the time to listen to me a little bit. Like Vince said, I am Dr. Zaki Afzal. I'm a performance physical therapist. I specialize in working with only active adults and athletes and people that have movement practices. Whether you're a runner, a lifter, a professional athlete, I work, and my life's goal is to help you move better, feel better, look the way you want. So today we're going to actually talk about neck pain, whether it's waking up in the morning with a stiff neck and hard time moving the neck, or in the gym doing pull-ups, doing rows, things like that get that neck pain kind of activated. We're going to talk about ways to get it feel better.
And by the way, if you guys want to check out Zaki or his clinic on Instagram, what's the handle?
It's Optimize PTP.
So go check that out, send him a DM if you guys are wanting any help with anything. And if you guys are wanting help with getting in shape, aside from physical therapy, getting personalized help for whatever issues you're dealing with, is the same thing with getting in shape. You have to make sure that you're following a plan that is right for you, whether that be the right macros, the right type of training, the right type of cardio, whatever it might be. You can't just be doing a one-size-fits-all plan. So if you want help with figuring that out, I'll throw a link down in the description below to our body type quiz. It's a free quiz, check it out. But other than that, let's get into today's video.
So before we begin this video, I want you to understand that if you don't have issues that are related to just muscles or joints in the neck and you have other issues, you probably want to go see someone. The symptoms that you're going to be looking for when you're looking to see if you need professional help is going to be numbness and tingling in the arms, any headaches that come on with your neck pain, blurry vision, trouble hearing, trouble swallowing or trouble speaking, any kind of dizziness or loss of balance. So you want to make sure that you see professionals for that before you follow any advice in this video.
So let's say that they're not dealing with any of that serious stuff where they think that they should go get help and it's just like, I just have a little bit of nagging pain. What's the first thing that they should do?
First thing you should do is you should assess what your motion looks like. And when you check your motion, you want to be able to make sure you're completely relaxed and you're seated on the table. So when we check our motion, the things we're mostly looking for is making sure that we have full cervical rotation. So that's how much our neck can rotate left and right. Okay, so let's go into checking this on Vince and see what it looks like. Vince is seated, he's nice and relaxed, shoulders are nice and relaxed, and we're just gonna ask him to turn his head all the way to the right as far as he can. A little limited, nothing too crazy though, and let's go to the left. So looking here, we see he definitely has a little bit more cervical rotation to the left compared to the right. Now that can kind of relate to is actually your shoulders not moving the way you want and can lead to some neck pain and stiffness waking up in the morning. Now, when he's sitting up here, a lot of the muscles in the neck that control his motion are also on to make sure his head stays up straight. Because if they weren't on, he'd be a floppy bowl of jello on the ground. We want to make sure that these muscles are on and making sure it's supporting his head. So to see his actual full motion, we need him to lie down so those muscles don't have to hold up his head. And then we can really assess what his motion looks like.
To relax, essentially.
Exactly. Gonna have him relax, gonna have him lie down on the table so we can see what his neck motion looks like. Now that Vince is lying down, we can check his cervical motion a lot easier, right? So when you're at home checking yourself, go ahead and keep your head relaxed on the pillow, on the bed, on the floor, wherever you're lying down, and try to turn your head as far as you can in each direction again. So we're gonna start with going to the right for Vince. And you can see when he's lying down, he actually has better motion. His chin gets closer to his shoulder here when he's lying down. And then go the other way. And pretty good that way too. So in actuality, what looked like a stiff neck when he was sitting up isn't really a stiff neck when he lies down, right? Because if it was, he would have the same limitation lying down as he did sitting up. So this answer to this issue isn't going to be stretching, it's going to be building some comfortability into that motion of neck rotation. And since we're already lying down, this exercise is very, very simple. You're just going to turn your head as far as you can to the right, and I'm going to have him take his right hand, 2 fingers, and put it on the side of his temple.
This side, right side?
The right side, right side. So now what I want him to do, I want him to push his head into his fingers, give himself a little bit of resistance on these fingers. So now these muscles that control his head when he's sitting up and moves his head when he's sitting up are now working in a range of motion that they're not used to, and learning how to control his head into that range of motion. Usually we hold this for about 15 to 30 seconds, then we take a little breather, and then we do 2 sets or 3 sets of this. Once we've completed these exercises, we're gonna have Vince sit back up, right over to the edge. And the cool part about this exercise is we should see a pretty immediate result. So now Vince sitting in the same position he was before, he's gonna turn his head to the right as far as he can. And we see that now his chin is getting closer towards the shoulder than it was in the past. So if this is something that you're dealing with, trouble turning your head, and when you lie down, you have more motion than you had sitting up, great exercise to restore that motion as you sit up.
And very simple.
Super easy exercise. You could do it in bed in the morning, you could do it before bed, anytime you have ability to lie down.
And so what's the difference between someone who needs to do this as opposed to people who need to do the next 2 exercises we're gonna get into?
So most people that do this can also benefit from the next couple exercises we do, but the big thing with this is a very simple, safe exercise. If you have neck pain that's pretty irritable, that almost every movement you do can kind of give you a little bit of a tweak, super simple because you're very relaxed during this and you're under complete control. You dictate how hard you push in. Now, we're never gonna have you push maximally into your fingers, but this is something that you can dictate as you get a little bit more comfortable with it, you can press a little harder.
Which is huge. I think everybody should really listen to that. Everything that we're saying, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to understand that he's not right there next to you assessing what your pain is and what your issues are. And so everything that we're saying, do it a little bit, see how it feels. If it's too bad, like he said, get professional help. But if it's something that you find helping, start light and work your way up. It's just like working out. When you're going to the gym, you're not as strong as you wish you were, but you work on that strength over the course of weeks and you get stronger. Same thing with this. If you're not getting the incredible results that you want from the first time doing it, how often would you recommend them do this?
I recommend usually if you're somebody that has been dealing with this for a little while, the neck rotation limitation, you probably want to try it a couple times a day because it's going to take your body a little bit of time to get used to the motion and relearn how to turn your head when you're sitting up. So I would recommend at least twice a day if you're dealing with it for a while. But if you're like Vince, you do it for 2 or 3 sets and you get up and it moves great, you may not have to do it again. You may have to just now use that new range of motion. Make sure as you're driving your car, you're using your neck in its full range of motion and it'll kind of settle down. You'll be able to have that motion for the rest of the day.
Nice. Okay. So what's the second one?
So second one here, we're going to kind of talk about the upper back. Now with the upper back, a big thing to understand is a lot of the muscles that attach to your shoulder blade run right all the way up to the base of your skull and actually throughout your neck. So if you're limited in those motions of your shoulder blade, you'll have a hard time moving your neck in its full range of motion and can feel that pain and stiffness throughout this area, okay? So I'm gonna have you turn around, Vince, just so we can kind of show them a couple things with their upper back. A big thing people are taught with their upper back is to pinch their shoulder blades back and saying that is great posture, that is good posture. I'm gonna tell you, with the research we've done on posture, it doesn't have a big effect on the way people have pain, right? So if you're always stuck in a posture where your shoulder blades are back, you're sitting up nice and tall, all these muscles that run up towards your neck are always gonna be on and stiff and not allow you to have full motion. So especially with rotation. So we wanna train you with this next exercise on how to get these shoulder blades apart and kind of open this up and even get some air in through here and breathe in this area because that'll really help them open up.
And what's the point of breathing through that area?
So what breathing in the area kind of does is it allows your rib cage to have full motion. And a big thing people end up having when they have neck pain or the shoulder blades kind of pinched back, they lose that natural curve in their upper back. And when they lose that, their naturally rounded shoulder blades now have to move on a flat surface. So when you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole, it's just not going to work the way you want it to. You want a nice curved rib cage here so the curved shoulder blades can glide on it nicely and you can have full shoulder and neck motion.
Nice. Okay. So what do we do here?
So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take a seat on the edge of here.
And so this relates to pretty much any pulling motion as
Absolutely,
well.
absolutely. So it relates to any kind of pulling motion, rows, pull downs, pull ups. You want to make sure you're getting a full range of motion through that shoulder blade. So before we even go to the pull up, before we change how you're doing that, we're going to actually look at how to get this opened up at home. All we need is a band. It doesn't have to be this strong, just a band that can give you a little bit of resistance and somewhere where you can kind of sit back a little bit and his feet can be off the ground here. So he's going to take this band, he's going to loop it underneath his feet, just to the bottom of his feet. Now he's going to put it in his hands here. The goal of this band isn't for him to build muscle. So he's not pulling up on it. He's actually going to let the band win and pull himself down by allowing his arms to be nice and long. What this in turn does is allows him to open up that upper back.
And then am I rounding my lower back at the same time?
Yes, you're going to go into a nice relaxed position with his whole spine. Now with this, you want to make sure his head's kind of nice and relaxed as well. Make sure that if you have any neck issues, you don't want to go all the way down to where your chin touches your chest, but nice and in a relaxed position. And while he's here, he's going to try to get his palms up. Now, in this position, as the band's pulling him down,
I feel it open up more when I go palms up.
Absolutely. So that's a great position to kind of open up that upper back. Now here, right in between the shoulder blades, he's going to take deep breaths in through his nose and try to push the air directly into between his shoulder blades. And now a lot of people will listen to this and say, how do I direct air? It's kind of more of a feel thing, so you're gonna have to try and get used to it. But the position he's in right now will help direct air there regardless of how he breathes in.
And something that's helped me, we've done this literally in our physical therapy sessions before. He'll basically just, if you have someone at home with you, he'll just put like his finger on my back where I'm supposed to be breathing into. It's kind of like creating that mind muscle connection. If you touch a muscle while you're contracting it, it's a lot easier to contract the muscle a little bit stronger. And so it's the same thing. If you can get someone to touch your upper back and you can just focus on breathing into that area, it becomes a lot easier than doing it without someone touching it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one main thing we want to make sure we're avoiding here is allowing these shoulders to go up towards the ears like you're doing a shrug, because that will turn on all those muscles we're trying to get to relax. So that's what the band helps pull you down and forward while he's getting those deep breaths into his upper back. And we should be able to open up both his shoulder motion, but more importantly, get his neck muscles to relax so they're not giving him that pain and stiffness.
And so how often and how much of this would you recommend?
So when you do this, generally we're gonna wanna try anywhere between 8 to 15 breaths, and we're gonna try 2 to 3 sets. Just like the other exercise, we should notice a pretty immediate improvement when you sit up and check your neck range of motion again to know if this is the right exercise for you. If you get up and you felt the stretch in the right spot, you feel the upper back opening up, and you get up and your neck isn't turning better, then probably not the right one for you.
And so the next one could be the right one.
Exactly.
Okay, so what is the next one?
So the next one we're going to talk about is actually going to be going over how you're supposed to do your pull downs and your rows. So if this is something that's opening up your upper back, but it's not changing the way your neck moves, then we probably want to actually take a look at how you're rowing and how you're doing pull-ups.
And so if this can't help them, let's say that someone's going to the gym and they're doing, it's back day. I go to the gym, I'm doing a bunch of pull downs, I'm doing a bunch of rows, I got neck pain, I don't know what's wrong with it. I did all those 2 exercises we just covered, it's not really doing it. Whenever I get into these exercises, it re-aggravates it. What do we do now?
So we actually have to take a look at your row and your pull down to see how you're performing those exercises. And if you do all these exercises at home and they feel great, but then you go to the gym and it doesn't feel great, then it's like we're taking 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because now you're lifting heavy weights in positions that your body may not be used to or may not be ready for. So we'll actually have to take a look at your row and pull down.
Okay, cool, let's do that.
Okay, so we're gonna have Vince sit on the other side of the table with his back facing you guys. Now, we're gonna have Vince go through the way people usually do rows and the way people are usually taught to do rows, which is keep their shoulder blades pinched back throughout the entire range of motion. So if he pinches these shoulder blades back, all the muscles in between his shoulder blades, the middle trap, the rhomboids, all those muscles are gonna be on, and the upper trap, the levator scapula, all those muscles are gonna be on the entire time. So as he does this rowing motion, he gets a great pinch and contraction back here, but as he lets it go, he never ends up letting go of those shoulder blades. So all those muscles are on the entire set and they don't know how to work throughout their full range of motion. Easy fix for that is gonna be as he lets the weight go down and kind of reach his arms forward, he's actually gonna let those shoulder blades go all the way forward. And you can see he's doing that without slumping down into a poor position to lift weights. He's just letting those shoulder blades go forward. Don't mix this up with getting into a bad position like that, right? So letting those shoulder blades go forward, it's actually a great way to open up those areas and make sure the neck isn't taking that strain throughout the entire row. That same thing can be applied to pull downs and pull ups. So now he's just reaching up. So the same thing happens. A lot of people set their shoulder blades down and back like they're putting them in their back pockets, which is an okay position, but we want to make sure we go through a full range of motion during this exercise. So if he does it this way, first, his shoulder doesn't have full range of motion now. If he keeps these shoulder blades locked down, if he tries to go to a full range of motion, he can't. About 33 to 40% of our movement comes from our shoulder blade in our shoulders. So as he's reaching up, make sure you're letting these go and let these go up with that pull down. Now he's got a full range of motion. You can see his lats stretching here. And now as he pulls down, he's doing a full range of motion exercise, which has been shown to be a little more promising in developing muscle size than doing shorter range of motion exercises.
And this is what we talk about with our lat pull downs. We always talk about getting that full range of motion because it goes a lot deeper than just doing it so that you can get the most muscular growth. We're not just wanting the best physique in the world. We also want to stay pain and injury free. And so that's why stuff like this is so important. So thank you again for being here with us. Make sure that you guys are coming back next week on Sunday. We're dropping a video where we're going to be talking about shoulder pain. And so I know that a lot of people out there have shoulder pain. I myself have had shoulder pain many a times, and I go straight to Zachy and he gets me right. And so if you guys want to get yourself right, make sure you're coming back next Sunday, checking out that video. But if you guys are liking this video, liking this type of content, make sure you're clicking that thumbs up button below, commenting any thoughts that you got down below, subscribing to the channel. But that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.